Well, we're back with you on a Monday morning. I'm Marlin Bohling with you, your tour guide to the ag commodities, and I'm joined, as Tim mentioned, by Chris Swift of Swift Trading. He's based in Nashville. And Chris, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of these market quotes that are kind of off to the races this morning on the greens.
This morning, yep.
Were you surprised by that or not?
No, I think we were in for a lot more volatility, so it hadn't slowed down yet.
Now, you said volatility.
I did.
You didn't say upside.
Well, remember what volatility is. It's up and down, not up or down. So
that way to cover yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So.
You should be in politics. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at our quotes provided by Bar Chart. We'll start with the corn market here. And right now on the corn, well, we're with a solid gain, 10 1/4 higher at $5.95 per bushel. And December now up 11 1/2 at $5.99 1/2. Well, look at that. It got up above $6 for a moment there, up to $6.75. We'll see if it can succeed in going through that or not today. In soybeans, right now, you currently have August 25 3/4 higher. We're at 14.29 3/4. And November new crop, 13.31 1/4. That's within 2 cents of its high of the day. That would be 21 1/4 cents higher than our close on Friday. Now on the wheat in Chicago, September gaining 20 cents, Chris, at 766 1/2. That would be within 4 cents of our high of the day right now. So surprising strength showing up in the wheat here all of a sudden today. Kansas City gaining 25 1/4 at 8.87. That's on that same September contract. Let's go to Minneapolis wheat, and we have September 13 1/2 higher. We're now at 8.87 1/4. That's about 3.5 cents from its earlier high of the day. And we'll take a peek at the cotton market here, see what's going on. We have December new crop cotton now 55 lower at 78.12 per pound. So still struggling below 80 cents here. Wheat market kind of taking a leadership role to an extent here today. And is that based on worries about Russia or what?
I think it's a little bit of everything, more than anything. But as a protein content and corn having to flash higher as fast as it did, and wheat can be used as an alternative protein for the corn. And I think it's just all three of the grains are moving higher, and wheat's not going to be left out of it more than anything.
Interesting stuff in harvest with 100-degree weather that Tim was just talking about, and we were talking before we came on the air. Anytime you have temperatures get the hundreds in the plains, that means the combines are going to roll almost simultaneously. It's kind of like the chicken and the egg. What comes first, 100-degree temps or wheat harvest, one or the other.
And they're right in line with one another.
So, yeah, they're going to be going like gangbusters.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, of course, with the rain being spotty this past weekend, it still gives the corn and soybeans opportunities to, you know, try to get a little bit better than what they are. And we kind of noted last week that in January, everybody thought we were going to have the perfect corn crop and the perfect weather, and now we've got some indecision in there. So it's going to take weeks of this high volatility before we can settle down and get the information we need of how much yield have we lost, how many acres do we have really planted out there.
Here in the Mid-South, I noticed some fields are already tasseling over the weekend after we got some rain over the past week.
Yeah, it looks great here.
It's just exploding to the upside. But, boy, I tell you what, you don't have to drive very far. And if there's an area where they missed the rain, I mean, that corn is really stunted. And, I mean, you're going to have 5 miles from lush-looking corn to stunted corn that may not make hardly anything.
Right, and then remember Friday's going to be the planted acres report. So it'll be really significant to see. We were estimating 3 million acres more planted this year than last year. So if that does not come true, then yield becomes that much more important. If we we're able to get out those acres, then it might help the yield situation just a little bit.
That is a good point. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. That report will come out later on. And the question also is, if they didn't get all the corn planted in the Dakotas, did they plant soybeans? So we'll have to see on that number. Don't even know if we'll get that answered. We'll come back in a moment and we'll take a look at our livestock trade with Chris after this. Okay, we are talking with Chris Swift. This dude right here, right next to me, and he's with Swift Trading in Nashville. Now let's take a look at our livestock trade and see what's going on. We'll start with live cattle, and we're still lower, Chris. August down 40 cents at 170.37. October down 45 at 174.05. And in both cases, we're roughly about 40 cents off of our earlier high of the day. Now, if you look at the feeder cattle market, they're continuing to trade over $1 weaker, and this is roughly how they were when we looked last half hour. August down $1.60 at $232.35, and you have September $1.50 lower at $236.20. So steady as she goes on the downside here so far. Lean hogs also staying where they were last half hour. You have August up $2.12 at $91.80, but that's $1 off of its earlier high this morning. October now 90 higher at 80.87. So any quick thoughts on this lean hog trade?
Not as much on the lean hog because it's been pretty volatile, but the cattle, we had a cattle on feed report on Friday. Still came in 11.6 million head on feed, which has been a very consistent number for months on end, showing that we're still pretty much in liquidation and nowhere near expansion time frame there. And again, we're looking at basis. You got a very positive basis in the fat market, a very negative basis in the feeder market, and both will converge.
How surprised were you that you had placements as high as they were?
None at all.
Really?
The heat, the drought, just like in the grain markets where we thought everything was going to be perfect the first of the year. Now we've got drought that's happened into the pasture conditions. We're going to have hay that's not as good, water. So all of those are just keeping the heifers coming to market, keeping some of the cows coming to market, and that just keeps a heavier amount of cattle on feed and slaughter than what we had anticipated earlier. So it makes it bad. Makes it bad for the next year. There's no doubt. But
sure.
Right now, this is what we're dealing with.
So if you look at that forecast that Tim was talking about a little bit ago, I mean, you were talking 100-degree temps,
probably a few more cattle to have to leave there. So silage is never a problem because most of it is grown under irrigation. But you still have to have the roughages. You still have to have hay. You've got to have, some cases, alfalfa for the dairies, and you just got to have that stuff for it.
But I'm thinking of the heat stress. Remember about a year ago we had that little heat dome that we lost several thousand cattle
absolutely.
just all in one day.
It's not going to get any better right now. So.
Wow. That's all we need is to have a loss like that.
We don't need that at all.
Supplies are tight. All righty. Well, Chris, thanks for coming in.
Always a pleasure, Mark.
Always enjoyed talking with you. I know you had a good weekend.
Yes, sir, we did.
Just have a hunch that you had a good weekend. Anyway, Tammy, with that, I'll turn it back to you.